right, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. We've got a quick review of a game called King of Tokyo, and this one is put out by that company right there that I can't say their name. My name's Jimmy.
My name's Rod.
And I'm Tim.
So let's get right into it. Tell us about the game.
As far as instructions go, this is a game that has very few instructions. It's mostly based off die rolling mechanics. There are a few cards that add to the instructions based on what's on the card. So, and there's a description for every single type of card in here in the instruction booklet. So that's nice to have a nice reference to it. And it's quick. There's pictures and big text and everything. So it's easy to look up, so you're not like looking through the little text and looking back to your index or anything. But I mean, it's one long sheet. It's really all it is.
That's it.
As far as story goes, though, it's also there's not a story. There's literally just
a story.
There's a story.
There's monsters fighting for Tokyo. I mean, that's really just an overlay. It's an overlay story.
Whatever. These monsters have risen from the sea, and they're coming to take over Tokyo.
That's where the story of this monster should have been, right here.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some tutorial kind of steps and stuff in here to give you some ideas of different scenarios. They come in purple text, so that way, I mean, they can really catch your eye, with all the explosions of everything else that's happening with these this instruction sheet.
The instructions are good.
They are good.
Yeah, so the instructions are good for the game. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's talk about game mechanics and how a turn plays out. So on your turn at the beginning of the game, you're going to pick a character, and they have all kinds of cool ones. You've got Mecha Dragon and Kraken and Alienoid, and what's the bunny rabbit one? There's some kind of Cyber Bunny, and so it's kind of cool. So you get these little cards, and then they have these wheels that spin that denote your victory points and your health of your monster, and then you've got these little cutouts that come on these little black stands, and so that makes them stand up. And so at the beginning of the game, there's no one inside Tokyo. And so you roll the dice in kind of a Yahtzee fashion, where you'll roll the dice, and then you get to pick out which ones you'd like to keep, and then you get to re-roll 2 more times. And so based off of whatever it is you're trying to do at the moment, you could end up with a certain combination of dice that will benefit you for what you're trying to do. So at the beginning of the game, like I said, there's no one in Tokyo, but if you roll a claw symbol, that's one of the sides of the die, you get to go into Tokyo and you get some victory points for that. And then when you're in Tokyo, this is kind of how the fighting works. If you ever roll a claw and you keep it, at the end of your roll, that basically means that you're going to attack or hurt somebody else. So if you're in Tokyo, your attacks only apply to anybody who is outside of Tokyo. And so that's great, because with one claw hit, you could attack 4 or 5 people. And then the opposite is true. If you're outside Tokyo, you don't attack those that are outside Tokyo. The only person that you're attacking is whoever is inside Tokyo. So it basically puts the fire on whoever is inside, because they don't want to stay in Tokyo for too long, because then they could die. So on your turn, you could either roll a claw, you could roll a heart, which means that you get to heal. There's a lightning bolt that means energy, and then there are the numbers 1, 2, and 3. If you get 3 of a kind on the numbers, so let's say you got 3 3s, then you'll get 3 victory points, or 2 or 1, depending on that combination. And then there's some rules how if you get 4 or 5 of the same number. And then if you get energy, let's say you roll energy, then at the end of your turn, you'll get energy cubes for however many energy that you rolled. And then these energy cubes, in turn, are used to purchase cards. And so these cards are kind of neat, because each one of them give you a special power or something that you might be able to do. And these cards come in two kinds: ones that you keep and put next to your monster, or ones that you might discard immediately. And it says it right on the card. And then it also tells you if later on if you have to discard the card. So it's pretty easy to understand how that works. So basically, the game ends when someone gets to 20 victory points, or if everyone else is dead except for you. And then that means that you win. So that's how the game plays.
All right, the components of the game, I mean, you can see the components are nice. Nice pieces. The cardboard, again, is thick, which is always good. And don't want to break it apart after playing it a few times. Each one of the characters has his own little chart here. and it has a spin dial on it. It's all pretty neat here. The cards are nice and thick, very thick actually. So that's very nice. I mean, so all the components. This is it's a nice little game, especially for the price point, because it's. We were talking about miniatures and. What the price difference would be if we added miniatures instead of having these cardboard pieces. And I think the cardboard pieces do the job as well. And the artwork on them is nice. It's a very, I don't know what to say. It's just a nice, lighthearted game and with that artwork. And then the dice, which I do like. The dice is, they're large for large hands.
Very
Very nice. And some
massive.
people with smaller hands don't like this bigger dice. But the dice are nice. I think that's very neat. So it's a nice little game.
Yeah, I mean, my complaint would have been about that I wish that there would have been miniatures with the game. But I don't know, I go back and forth, where this little 2D cutout almost adds to the Japanese animated, old hokey Godzilla movies. And so maybe that's kind of the look that they were going for. And, like Rod mentioned, that if these were miniatures, it would drive the price up. But
yeah, that'd be a really expensive game.
Yeah, but I love this. I love the components of the game. I think it's all great. All of these little spin dial cards came pre-assembled. The dice are quality and they're unique, even if they're too
Perfect
large.
size.
I mean, they're monster-sized dice.
They are pretty big. I mean, I would say, I don't know what the ratio is, but I mean, there's a regular one and, these dice. And so, but
we play with kids, though, and when they grab hold, they got to roll all 5 dice. They're like, they got their little hands, and they're not even shaking them. They're not rolling them. They're just moving the dice, and then they drop them. And that's their roll, because they just, the dice are huge.
They really are huge.
But the kids love them, so.
But, I mean, that adds to the whole monster taking over Tokyo feel, that I mean, if you had these little dinky dice, I don't think it would be the same thing as having these
dice are dinky.
Well, these,
My mini dice.
Mini dice.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, the game, again, is the pieces are nice and everything. It's easy to play, family-oriented. I mean, you were saying that you played with your mom, right?
Yeah.
So that's I think that it's a good game.
Yeah, there's a kind of some cool balance to the game where you want to be in Tokyo because when you're in Tokyo, you can attack everybody, and that's kind of cool. And then you get points if you stay in Tokyo. Like if you go in and then you stay in until it comes back around to your turn, you get 2 extra victory points. And so that's a really cool incentive because you're like, if I go out yet, then right now, then I won't get those victory points, and it'll all seem like it was a waste. But then you're like, if I stay in too long, then they're going to kill me. And so that's kind of a cool feature to the game, and I really like it. I'll tell you, initially I was put off by the game. I'd seen a lot of people review it, but it just looked really like childlike, and I'm okay with that if I'm buying this for my son or to play with kids. But for me, I was like, I don't know. And finally, this guy in a game store talked me into it, and so I just went ahead and bought it, and I'm glad I did.
There's always that guy in the game store, right?
Yeah, they're tricky.
So this is nice that it has the instructions and stuff on the cards and stuff right here, text that tells you exactly what the cards do, so you're not constantly referencing the instruction booklet. They have reminders about victory points and whatnot on the map itself. It even tells you, because it's Tokyo base special for 5 to 6 players, it reminds you that on the board itself. So that's nice.
Yeah. And I'll just add in here, I forgot about this, but the cards to me are one of the coolest things that you can do, that you can spend energy to buy these cards, and they give you superpowers, and special things that you can do. And you don't have to play these to win the game, but definitely helps and kind of makes it more interesting when you can, it creates player interaction where now I'm doing something that can poison you or hurt you, or I get to re-roll dice, or you have to roll with 1 less die, stuff like that. So it's really cool. So, all right. At the end of our reviews, we like to give you our opinion on it. And so we do this by showing you 3 different dice. So the green one means we think you ought to go and buy this game right now. The white one means that maybe you might consider it, maybe wait, and also maybe you might not buy it, but if it was out on the table, you'd play it. And then the red one means I'm not going to play this game even if it was on the table, and I'm definitely not going to buy it. So we'll choose our die secretly, and then we put them out, and our decision is... Oh, so 2 green and a white. I'm so surprised. Okay. So tell us, just in one sentence.
It's always so easy to put in one sentence. Value. It's price is good, entertaining.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I play this with a lot of people that love it because it's simple and easy.
It's fun, but there's no sense of accomplishment or immersion in it. And I'd play it if it was on the table and everybody else was playing it, but it's not something I would look forward to playing.
Okay, fair enough. So, all right. Well, that's thanks for checking out our review, and we got some more coming down the line. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit our website, and be sure to tell your friends. We'll see you next time.
Immersion. Where'd you get immersion out of the other game we were talking about? That one. Dixit.
There's so much immersion in Dixit.
There's nothing